the storm and evermore. I hear the thunder, feel the fire. My soul's alive, my heart's desire to fly, to dream, to rise and scream. I am free.
Christian author C.S. Lewis preached a sermon entitled The Weight of Glory that addressed the issue of the future. Lewis claimed that the true longing behind all our earthly desires is for heaven. He said, "Our lifelong nostalgia, our longing to be reunited with something in the universe from which we now feel cut off, to be on the inside of some door which we've always seen from the outside, is really a hunger for God Himself." Greetings, Patriots. I'm Perry Green. This is God in America. Today is Patriot Day, and we recall the fateful events of September the 11th, 2001, and recognize some genuine patriots. I find it compelling that we must look to our past to advance into the future. When we learn from the bygone years, we can avoid the mistakes and build on their successes. John Quincy Adams famously said, "From the experience of the past, we derive instructive lessons for the future." Something happens to people who are ignorant of their history. Wandering aimlessly, they are easily misled by unscrupulous people. Our overly trusted education system is designed to negate our ancestors' accomplishments. It focuses on the negatives that can be found in every group of people. Thus, the contemporary generations are ignorant of where we came from and misdirected into an anti-American mentality. In addition, the Marxist-controlled entertainment industry keeps us distracted from the priorities of our country. In addition to omitting key events, the education gurus have rewritten past events. Democratic President Woodrow Wilson, for example, wrote a multi-volume set of American history books that ignored Black Americans' contributions to the independence efforts of the 18th century. Wilson was a bigoted racist by all accounts and promoted white supremacy. As a result, few Americans know about Crispus Attucks' bold stand in Boston or of James Armistead's contributions to the defeat of Cornwallis at Yorktown, as well as others' efforts. African Americans have been disenfranchised from their ancestors' fight for independence from Great Britain. While we can read our founding documents, we rarely do. When was the last time you seriously read the Declaration of Independence or the U.S. Constitution? These writings are not inspired scripture, but we can see the hand of God's providence in them. Benjamin Franklin, wrongly accused of being a deist, made an astute observation about the Constitutional Convention. He said, "To conclude, I beg I may not be understood to infer that our General Convention was divinely inspired when it formed the new federal Constitution, merely because that Constitution has been unreasonably and vehemently opposed. Yet I must own I have so much faith in the general government of the world by providence that I can hardly conceive a transaction of such momentous importance to the welfare of millions now existing and to exist in the posterity of a great nation should be suffered to pass without being in some degree influenced, guided, and governed by that omnipotent, omnipresent, beneficent ruler in whom all inferior spirits live and move and have their being." Instead of reflecting on our original documents, we accepted tainted history as our teachers blandly laid it out for us. Our instructors recited the taxation without representation grievance of the Declaration as our reason for asserting independence. Well, it was the 17th of the 27 objections the colonists offered to the king. 11 mentioned the monarch's governmental abuses by not allowing any colonial representation in Parliament. 7 complaints mention military overreach and lack of accountability. This is the reason civilians oversee our armed forces today. 4 objections were concerned with judges and their legislation from the bench. This is both an old and modern issue. In addition, the Declaration included the king's refusal to enforce morality as the head of the Church of England and propagated slavery amid the colonies. Thomas Jefferson had written a 28th grievance specifically calling on the king to end the slave trade. The delegates removed it from the document in deference to Georgia and South Carolina, maintaining a united front. They planned to handle the issue once they had broken ties with Great Britain. The final cost of ending slavery was over 600,000 American lives. When Christ ate the Last Supper with his disciples, he lifted the yeast-free bread and the wine-filled cup to illustrate his body and blood. He said, "Do this in remembrance of me," in Luke 22, verse 19. We know he remembers us when we see the rainbow in the sky. He wants us to acknowledge him. Our forefathers' and mothers' official and unofficial writings remind us of their quest for liberty and firm reliance on divine providence. These documents transport us back in time to feel the tension and terror they faced. Their work also deals with many of our contemporary issues. But if we don't know their words, we squander opportunities to take advantage of their Bible-based wisdom. Much of what we're dealing with today is a matter of priority. What we deem as important comes from our distorted education system that has removed God, prayer, and His Word from our history. As a result, we vote by the principles of indoctrination rather than Christian values. Let's seek God and His kingdom as our priority and let the pieces fall into place as they did over 2 centuries ago. Well, thanks for being with us today. Please like, share, subscribe to, and follow our podcast. If you'd like to donate to our God in America ministry, please visit our website. I would appreciate your financial and prayerful assistance. Until next time, let's keep the light of going back to get ahead burning.
My soul's alive, my heart's desire to fly, to dream, to rise and scream.